YouTube, we're gonna learn about the SAG-AFTRA video game strike that currently, I believe, started today. I wanna know what they're striking, why they're striking, who should participate in striking, and what we can do to help if we want to help. So I'm gonna go ahead and read through the website about it. This is interesting to me. This does affect some Hoyoverse games to my understanding. So let's go ahead and get into it. Come join us on Twitch if you ever have time at twitch.tv/X_juice. We stream daily except for Sundays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. But let's go ahead and get into it. The SAG-AFTRA strike situation for voice actors. Subscribe. Why is SAG-AFTRA striking the video game contract? SAG-AFTRA is striking this contract so that members working in interactive media, i.e. video games, can contribute, earning a living doing the job that they love. Our members' work and likenesses are being exploited by artificial intelligence, and video game companies have refused to plainly affirm in clear and enforceable language that they will protect all performers covered by this contract in their AI language. Basically, the base issue for this strike is that there's not any clear language in contracts for VAs when they work with video games, in some video games, that shows that they are not going to be used to train an AI to replicate their voice. This is a very reasonable concern for voice actors. Their voice is their career, right? The skill that they have in utilizing their voice and all of those things is how they make their money. It is their entire, it is their skill set. It's basically just taking the thing that makes you marketable and then making it into a robot so they don't have to pay you. It is fair to want explicit language saying if that's gonna happen or if there's payment for something like that, that kind of thing. That being said, I do have questions about whether or not there has been any examples of this actually happening in video games thus far, or if this is proactive or preventative, because I've seen people take voice actors' voices to train AIs for things like memes and stuff like that, like the SpongeBob AI rap music and stuff like that. But I'm very curious as to whether or not this has actually been happening in video games, but the clarity is still very important. Who does SAG-AFTRA bargain the video game contract with? In other words, which companies are in a position to give SAG-AFTRA video game performers the fair deal we deserve? So this is the list of corporations. I don't think this is super important because I don't know who all these corporations are or like what games they make, but those are the corporations if you'd like to read more about it. What are the struck companies? The strike applies to all video game companies signed to the Interactive Media Agreement, regardless of whether or not they are members of the convenience bargaining group. So that means that they've essentially, I believe, it's corporations that have entered an agreement with the union. That said, because some companies have games that cannot be struck due to certain contract terms, it is easier to think about the strike in terms of struck games as opposed to struck companies. Okay, so that explains why it's not Hoyoverse in general. It just includes Genshin Impact. How do I know if a game is struck? There's a website you can check. Is there any video games that aren't struck? Yes, it looks like there is also a website with which you can check. Why are there non-struck games for struck companies? There are certain games that are not currently being struck because of the terms of the collective bargaining agreement that are still in effect for those games. You can again check the status there. Can I work for companies that are not struck? We support and encourage you to work under any contracts that are not struck, including games that are signed to the Interim Interactive Media Agreement. So essentially, they can still continue to work with games that are not struck. And it's not important if there's like company struck because they are specifically working with specific games due to contracts that already exist. Can I work on games that are not covered by the video game contract? It looks like the answer is no, because they'd have to work with the union. In essence, no member shall render any service or make an agreement to perform services for any employer who has not executed a basic minimum agreement with the union, which is in full force and effect in any jurisdiction in which there is a SAG-AFTRA national collective bargaining agreement in place. So essentially it has to be a company that does have an agreement with the union, but they can if they're not struck, essentially. I'm trying to look for what we have to do. For non-members, how can I show support for striking video game performers? There we go. SAG-AFTRA is a union that protects voice actors. The performers that you see and hear in video games help make the video games you love come to life. Unfortunately, compensation to performers has stagnated in real value due to inflation, i.e., in comparison to inflation, their wages have not increased in a way that is relative to inflation. The unregulated use of artificial intelligence threatens the careers of professional actors in the video game industry, and members' physical safety has lacked necessary protective provisions for too long. So they are asking for higher compensation, obviously. There to be regulations regarding the use of artificial intelligence for their voices in terms of like training a voice, like training an AI, and additionally protective measures for voice actors' physical safety, I guess, when they're traveling and things like that. If you love video games and performers in them, please look at our list of ways you can show our support below. So first of all, share what's going on. You can do so on Twitch, X, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, etc. I hate that I said X. Basically, just letting people know. And if you want to learn more how to help and you're a content creator, you can email them. Hashtags if you want to. You can invite one of our video game performers to join your stream or show the opportunity to discuss the strike and what's at stake. Essentially, let people know, talk about it, and be open about what's going on. Are creators and streamers being asked to stop playing certain video games? No, not at all. We are not asking you to stop playing video games. In fact, the opposite. Please continue doing what you love, and any support and solidarity will be extremely appreciated. This does, however, not count for those who are members of SAG-AFTRA. This is only for content creators or people who are not voice actors, essentially, so viewers or whatever. Y'all can do whatever you want. This is in essence a strike of the voice actors themselves, in that they will not be working with those games or with those companies until terms are set and things are agreed upon. And then you can reach out for more questions at this email. So for fans, why should this strike matter to video game fans? Actors are workers. Like all workers, game performers deserve to make a living under conditions that are safe and humane. Additionally, your favorite performances are brought to life through the artistry of human actors who improvise, tap into personal experiences, and collaborate with writers and directors to create a performance that only they could provide. No two actors are the same, and every performance is unique. Generative AI tools threaten to replace those artists with derivative, machine-recycled performance, lacking perspective or surprise. AI-generated performances will not carry the originality, pathos, or humor of an actual human actor. How can you, as a viewer, show support for the striking game performers? You can help amplify our messages online using these hashtags. Click here for a look at how you can engage in this fight. So, in essence, this is a fight against the use of AI, unregulated use of AI to copy people's voices, to copy voice actors' voices. I want to take a look at the struck games, but the fact is like, whatever your personal perspective regarding AI is, there is a reality that AI, it's bad for any specific thing where you're trying to duplicate something that requires artistry, skill, and mastery, right? A voice actor's career is their voice, what they can do with their voice, their skill with their voice, their ability to act, their ability to capture a moment with just their voice. That's it. For an AI to be used to copy that, it's gonna be shittier. AI cannot fully copy exactly how a human can invoke emotionality, the gravity of a situation. They can't change the voice. It waters down, essentially, all of the skill that it takes to actually be a voice actor. Voice actors don't really get paid that well. I don't know if this is something that is true for all VAs or like very specifically for video game VAs, but I don't think it's any secret, realistically, that most video game voice actors are not paid particularly well. Even ones that are the main character of very large series or very large franchises, they don't get paid that well. The more popular ones get paid better, but in general, they just don't get paid enough. It is important for people, especially because it's a skill-based job, that they get paid properly so that they want to keep doing it. I don't want AI in my video games for like replacing voice actors. Me personally, sometimes the VAs already don't be hitting. I don't think we need to quadruple down on that issue by making it into a bobot. I'm good. I think that strikes are very important. If you'd like to participate, essentially all they're asking you to do is signal boost the situation, use the hashtags, all of that good stuff. You don't have to quit playing any of these games, but I do want to take a look at the games that are being struck, because it is actually pretty interesting. I wish there was just like a list. Video game status search. Full code name? I gotta know the code. Oh God, is there like, I wish there was a nice write out list of them, because I'm definitely interested in that, because it looked like there was Blizzard. I'm pretty sure Genshin Impact is included, but not all Hoyoverse games. And I'd love to know, where's the list? Because I can't find like a nice list. Like, it's just like you could just search for it. But the companies that are being struck are Activision, Blindsight LLC, Disney Character Voices International, EA Games, Formosa Interactive, Insomnia Games, Llama Productions, Take-Two Productions, VoiceWorks Productions, and WB Games. But I don't know what games specifically are being struck because I just want to know. Genshin Impact is being struck, and essentially what this means is that these EN voice actors will not be doing work for Genshin Impact or any of these games for the foreseeable future, which absolutely does affect Hoyoverse. If they were to choose to use AI instead of respecting this strike, or instead of negotiating terms for this strike, it would be very, very, very bad for them on a level that is actually really hard to even calculate, because the reality is if these voice actors won't work with Genshin Impact and they use AI, that could hypothetically mean that voice actors in other countries strike as well, because the use of generative AI for voice actors is a real and legitimate danger and a legitimately disgusting thing to do. It is ruining their ability to make money. It is ruining their livelihood, their career, and stealing their skill set and their talent and their expertise. Absolutely, in no way is this not a big deal, the same way that the boycotts were not a big deal for the Natlin shit. These are not the same thing. They are dissimilar entirely, and you would do best to understand the difference between a strike and people crying on Twitter as a boycott. This does actually have a chance at making a difference, and I hope very much in my heart that it does. Like, especially with somebody like Sayu, right? A lot of these VAs are connected to the community that plays these games. If they choose to disrespect the talent of voice actors, it can start a chain reaction that will have implications into other countries as well. Because, okay, yeah, maybe Japanese voice actors aren't looking to strike right now. But if they see that Genshin Impact is willing to use generative AI or go some shifty, shady route, they might also not really want to work with them either. It's a PR situation where VAs are typically not necessarily treated that well in general. And now you're going to steal my voice. You're going to disrespect the strike. You're not going to give fair wages. You're not going to give fair treatment. It doesn't look good for Hoyoverse, and there will be people that will be affected. It will affect them if they choose to do this, like, I don't give a fuck, I'm China route that you guys think is going to happen. I think strikes are a good thing. I think this strike is a good thing. This is the difference between a strike that is actually legitimately organized and actually has a point and actually has potential, as opposed to these pitiful boycotts on Twitter where people just do a sign-up sheet that is like botted, essentially. It's absurd. I am very interested to see how this goes. I will be keeping tabs on this. Sadly, I do genuinely wish they had a nice written out list of all of the games that are being struck. It seems like there's potential for more Hoyoverse games to be struck, but at this time, I believe it's just Genshin Impact. So we're gonna keep an eye on this. If you'd like to support, the website is going to be in the comment section, in the description below on the YouTube video. This is very, very interesting to me, as striking can have good effects, but it also can have terrible, awful effects. And this could go a bunch of different ways. It just kind of depends on how they handle it. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. What do you think about generative AI in terms of voice acting? I will see you guys on the next one. Come join us on Twitch if you ever have time at twitch.tv/hex_juice. Be safe, drink water, touch some grass, you filthy animal. Bye-bye.